Dodgers breaking records with the latest contract signing. I mean, you thought it was over? No, there's another contract that we got to take care of, and the Dodgers did just that. Brad J with the Dodgers Digest. Time to get down to business. We got a lot to unwrap today and a lot to talk about, but the biggest thing I want to talk about, Dodgers breaking records with the latest contract signing. And you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's get right into that story right there. Dave Roberts, that's who we're talking about. Future GOAT of managing, and I'll get to that in a second. Dave Roberts breaks the silence on record-breaking contract extension with the Dodgers. And you knew it was going to happen before the start of the season. You know what I like about this whole thing right here? The reason I like the way this timing broke down is Dave Roberts wasn't focused solely on the contract. Dave Roberts was focused on running a team, evaluating a team, and getting that team ready to defend the world championship that they won the year before. He wasn't trying to make everything about him in his contract. Like, I need to get my contract extended. We need to do this before I move forward. He didn't do that because he had good faith with the Dodgers, and he knew the Dodgers were going to have his best interest when it came down to the story. So Dave Roberts breaks silence, record-breaking contract extension with the Dodgers, and there's some money attached to it. In fact, it is the biggest contract in the history of managing, is what it is. And here's the numbers right here. Let's talk about this, shall we? Dodgers manager Dave Roberts have agreed to a record-breaking contract extension that's going to pay him $8.1 million per season, all the way to 2029, surpassing Chicago Cubs manager Craig Counsell. His annual average is $8 million. So 8.1. So I think that's because Craig Counsell had the most unorthodox swing in baseball. Maybe that's why he didn't deserve to have the 8.1. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, I like the fact that they finally got it done, and I feel like he deserves it. He absolutely deserves the money that he got. And let's turn to Dave Roberts' quote from the Dodgers Digest. Quote of the Dizzo. All right, let's get into this one. This is what Dave says about the whole thing. He's glad it's over. My goal is not to be the highest paid manager. If that's the fallout, fine. But that's not why I do my job. So he doesn't do it for the money. He says it right there. And that is, I mean, if that's the fallout out of your job, I guess to be the highest paid ever, I guess that's not so bad. But that's not why I do my job. I do my job because I love baseball. And, man, I love to hear him say that. I love the Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda is smiling down from heaven on that one. And I love the players. But I do feel the body of work is pretty dang good. Dave Roberts getting it handled. Contract is done. Freeman, props. Gomes, props for making it happen. So let's unpack him right now. Let's talk about Dave Roberts. Let's talk about, is he the GOAT when it comes to being the manager, right? Is he the all-time greatest manager? Well, I mean, you got Joe McCarthy, 7 World Series wins. You also got Casey Stengel, 7 World Series wins. Both those guys, right? And legendary dudes, right? Some say Stengel would be the GOAT when it comes to managing. But let's keep this in perspective, people. Stengel was a manager for 22 years, okay? 22 years to get those 4 World Series wins. So if you look at Dave Roberts, what is it, 8 years? 8 division titles. He's been to 4 World Series, 2 of those wins. So 500% when he makes the World Series. And then you look at his numbers, wins, 851 wins to 507 losses. That's a .627 winning percentage right there. I mean, 8 division titles. The dude's been on the job for 8 years. So now he's signed up for another 4, okay? So you think even at the end of the 4 years, he'll still be 10 years shy of how many years Stengel was in the game. So before you start saying that Casey Stengel's the greatest manager of all time, I don't even want to hear that. Dave Roberts is in the running to be the greatest manager of all time. I mean, he's won it even as a player with Boston, right? So 2 World Series wins as a manager, 1 World Series win as a player, 8 division titles, 851 wins, 507 losses, a .627 winning percentage as a manager. 4 pennants, too. You might as well throw that in there. And now he's signed up for another 4 years. What if he goes and gets 3 World Series titles in there? Will you naysayers that think Stengel was the best manager in the history, will you then accept Dave Roberts as the GOAT of managing? Would you? I mean, Mike Nelson said it, and there was some harsh in saying, oh, he's not the GOAT. Man, just compare the years. 8 years to 22. Like, what is Dave Roberts? How much is he going to stack up on the wins and losses? He's going to have the best winning percentage of a manager anytime throughout the history. When this is over, in 4 years, like I said, 4 years is year 12 for him. Come on, man. What are you talking about? What are you hitting on? He is the GOAT, and he will be the GOAT, and he will be the greatest manager that baseball has ever seen when he decides to hang up his hat. Enough said on that. Let's get going, shall we? Look, it's passion, man, okay? I have a little bit of passion. That's what it is. Don't think I'm stressing out. Just a little bit of passion. All right, time for a spring training checkup, and there's 3 players I want to cover in this one. I think Dodger Nation did a story on this. Rushing, I want to talk about one of the number 1 prospects for the Dodgers. Yamamoto pitched yesterday. I want to talk about that. And Barnes, who some people, it's a sore subject. People don't really want to talk about Barnes all the time, right? I mean, I'll get to that. All right, so here we go. Let's talk, first of all, Dalton Rushing. He's a catcher. That dude could basically make the team, right? He could make any team in baseball. Any team, and he would be not starting in AAA, but he's going to start in AAA. Dalton Rushing, here's the story. 13 of 18 potential games he's been in this spring. So they're using him. He was a non-roster inviting, including 5 games as a catcher, which is cool to see him do that. He also leads the team with 9 walks this spring. Love to see that. Patience at the plate, that's key. That's what Dodgers do. Had only 4 strikeouts. When you got guys that have had like 14 strikeouts, that's pretty good to see him with just only 4. Batting only 21 times. He's 2 for 10. Not the best, but he did have that walk-off double. Did that also. So Jack Harris talked to the Dodgers' best position prospect. Well, he'll likely make his major league debut sometimes this year. You got to think he's got the praise from the organization. Dave Roberts says that he doesn't have anything to prove at all. So he's already proven what he needs to. But Dave also goes on to say Dalton has got a lot to learn. And this year, he's slowing down, taking in a lot of conversations, info, and having really good camp. And that made me kind of think a little bit about that. Like taking things slow and learning and getting into conversations and getting information. You come in as a young guy and you think you know everything. Like, no, man, you need to start me. I know what I'm doing. Put me on the field. I'll show you what's going on. This is what I do. But you got to slow your roll a little bit, and you got to do it when you come into the league like that. And that's exactly what he's doing. So big ups to Dalton Rushing. He's going to play. He is going to play. He's not going to start the season, I don't think, with the Dodgers, but he is going to play. Trust me on that. All right, let's talk about Yamamoto. Struck out 7 yesterday, huh? How about that? 5 innings, Camelback Ranch in his final spring tune-up before the Tokyo series. That's pretty awesome. I was pretty proud to see him get to 7 strikeouts. Good stuff out of him. And then let's talk about Barnes for just a second here. All right, Austin Barnes, one of only 7 catchers to spend 10 seasons with the Dodgers, and now back for an 11th year. There's a lot of people who don't like Barnesy and thinks that he's taking a spot on the team, like from Dalton Rushing, let's just say, because he's a catcher. But the one thing that you need to understand about Barnesy, first of all, Barnesy always catches Kershaw. And I said from the beginning of the season, if Kershaw gets signed or Barnes gets signed, that's going to mean the other one's going to get signed. Barnes was signed first, and I said Kershaw will be signed afterwards because they signed Barnes. And they did, and that's exactly what they did. But Dave Roberts says, I think he understands the fabric culture of our club. He's one of the glue guys. He really is. And he reiterates that, too, as well. So he reiterates the fact that Barnes is a glue guy. He's important for the team to have the camaraderie that the team needs to have. You take Barnes out of that mix right now and just put Dalton in without Barnes even being on the team, that's not a good fit. You need to get into the season and then find those opportunities, especially with Will Smith having a little bit of a bum ankle going into the season. That's going to probably open up some doors for Dalton Rushing and get him some reps. Well, today, the final game in Arizona. Tune in today. It's 4 p.m. Sasaki is going to get the start, so it'll be his last tune-up before he goes to Tokyo, just like Yamamoto got yesterday. And that's going to do it for Dodgers Digest. Man, I rambled on for way too long. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'm Brad J. Got to go. Always go through your day. And remember to think Dodger blue, my friend.